All right, what's up, everybody? I am interviewing someone that I am interviewing for the first time. I've had multiple people tell me, Dave, you need to talk to Gabby. You need to hear how she is delivering advice with price, how she's killing it with Mortgage Coach. What is up, Gabby? Good to meet
What's
you.
up? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, it's not exactly meeting you. I've seen you at sales rallies. I know who
Right.
you are, but it's the first time that you've been on the channel. So first of all, for anyone that doesn't know you and doesn't know what market you're in, doesn't know much about your mortgage practice, where are you at and what is your mortgage practice?
That's a great question. So I'm located in Charleston, South Carolina, which is why I'm in short sleeves today when everyone else is probably freezing fall time. I've been,
Rub it in, rub
I
it
know,
in.
sorry, it is 75 today and sunny. But I've been at my current company for 6.5 years, and I've been a loan officer for 10 years. Um, and I would say my practice when it comes to just my business and mortgage coach in general is I do work a lot with first time home buyers. I work a lot with down payment assistance. I work a lot also on the complete opposite end of that with a lot of non QM products, bank statement loans, DSCR loans, those type of things. So I have here in Charleston, we have such a mixed bag of a market because we have a lot of people that are moving here for job opportunities. We have a lot of people retiring here. And so you really have to be a loan officer with a lot of tools on your belt to be able to service this market. And so I we provide everything here and I can cater to whatever the client needs. But I find Mortgage Coach is so instrumental when working with first time homebuyers, especially because it's such an overwhelming process and it's just a no-brainer when you're explaining mortgage numbers. And I'm a big educator, and so for me it brings that education tool really easily.
Cool. And how are you doing right now in this market? Like what kind of
Good.
production are you doing? How's business?
It's good. We've done, I think, over 110 units this year. I think close to like 41 or 42 million, so I'm really happy with that. I wanted to get to 50, so we'll see what the last quarter of the year brings. But I'm really happy with that. It's just me, myself, and an LOA, and so it's a lot of time, a lot of energy. And I will say this market has, like I said, you have to have a lot of tools in your belt to be a loan officer right now. You have to be, at least for me, on social media. You have to be available to meet with realtors, be available for clients. And so you just have to be on your A game like you've never had to be before. You have to have technology, education, personality to be able to stand out and connect with people. It's definitely, I think, forcing every single loan officer in the game right now to kick all of their efforts into high gear. So
Yeah.
it's definitely not easy. But when I came to Atlantic Coast, I sat down with Corey, who's still our head of marketing. He's amazing. And I came from a bank and I was getting a lot of pushback, a lot of negativity. And almost every loan officer at the company telling me, well, not the company, I was not that big. So in my branch saying, why don't you just take loan officer or realtors to lunch? Why are you doing social media? Like, that's so embarrassing. I've had other loan officers say things like, there's no way that she's attending to her clients at a high level if she's on social media. And just everything you could imagine, just, people hating and just never bothered me. And I kept doing it. And it literally allowed me year over year to double my business. And in 2020, was able to have at that point like an amazing year because I talked so much on social media about interest rates and they were going down, and everybody that I knew on my database was I was doing their refinance even though I'd never done their purchases or worked with them before. So it was just worth its weight in gold with being consistent on social media and also just not letting the haters weigh you down when it comes to, and now look at it, now everybody's on social media. Like, now if you're not on social media in our field, and you have big goals, it's like, what are you doing? So it's so crazy to see how things have changed in such a short period of time.
So
Absolutely.
where I want to go right now on this topic is you had values, you had beliefs, you had like some philosophies
Hmm.
that, first of all, and by the way, Karen, if you could put on mute real quick and just jump off video because I really want to hear this and capture it.
Sure.
Um, but you had some values, some philosophies, some principles that got you through the haters. It also gave you the confidence to even be on video. What are some of those just personal philosophies you had, or those some values that you had that even put you in that position?
I'm gonna tell you right now, Dave, I was struggling. I was struggling for the money. It was my first solo year as a loan officer. I was working as a bartender and a server. I had no choice to fail. I had no choice to fail. I did not care what the haters said. I was like, this is my paycheck. And I'm just going to keep doing it because this is make or break for me. I had no college education. I have no background when it comes to having a silver spoon in my mouth at all. And so for the first 3 years while I was a loan officer, I worked nights and weekends bartending and serving. So for me, I was all about hard work. I hustled my whole life. I had 3 jobs in college and high school, and I've never been shy of hard work. And for me, that first year of going out on my own and believing in myself and really thrusting myself into the unknown of I could either fail or this could be like completely change my life. Nothing was gonna stop me from doing that. And it was, I mean, you got to go to bed with yourself every night. That's what I just would think about. I'm like, this is nobody else has an impact on how I'm doing what I'm doing because I could start to see the results a little bit already. And I thought if I just made this a super top priority, what could it be? What are the possibilities? And I kind of had blinders on. And I think that just attributes to I've always been a hustler. I've always worked very hard. I've known nothing different. And I just knew that I had to win. There was no room for failure.
So one, just no one's gonna outwork me. I mean, I
Mhm.
hear that. I am gonna win. So
Yeah,
you're a fierce competitor, I bet,
right.
at everything, like
Right.
cornhole, let's go. Uh, and
I'm a
then
fierce competitor at things I have a good chance in. If I don't
yeah,
have a good
okay, fair
chance,
enough.
I'm like, I let it go. I just have fun. But if I have a good chance in it, I'm
You're
competitive.
playing to win. You're playing to
Yeah.
win. All right. And then, one of the things that, when I founded Mortgage Coach, by the way, we share that. Like I have that same
Yeah.
value. And I think most top producers are, but I really wanted to be someone whose advice made a difference. Like
Hmm.
that was part of my mantra. My advice makes a difference.
Yeah.
And the fact that you adopted Mortgage Coach the way you did, was that a value? Like I want to
Oh
be
my
an advisor.
gosh.
I want my advice and education to really make a difference for people. Was that a strong belief and value that you had?
Absolutely. Being when in 28, let's say 2018, I was 27. And I didn't come from a huge education background. And I was thinking, okay, if I'm talking to somebody who's me, has no idea what a mortgage is. I didn't even know how to spell mortgage when somebody said I could be a mortgage loan officer. I was like, what is that? And so when I came to like the point where things like Mortgage Coach came up, I was like, this is great because if I was a consumer, if a client, this is would make sense to me as a client. And that's what I really wanted is something that could connect to people and resonate to people. I hated sending just a blank PDF and saying, okay, let me know if you have any questions. That's not a value add. That's just sending something off into the universe. So for me, things like social media, things like Mortgage Coach, things like um, here at ACM, like obviously we had the online systems that like made applying online super easy that I didn't have where I came from. All of those things added to how I wanted to build my business, which was I wanted to build it with transparency. I wanted to be super educational because that was important to me, is important to me. And I wanted to stand out and be different amongst, the competition even then. I mean, when we weren't battling as much with much competition, I still wanted to stand out because I was in a builder loan at that or a builder account at that time and constantly competing with Bank of America and prime lending and they weren't using these things, so it was a no-brainer that it just added to how I wanted to grow.
Well, you epitomize what I call the uncommon LO, like the common LO, not hitting their goals, struggling, the way you talked about your production. First of all, just the data, you are a top performer by every measure, but you're also hitting your goals. You're achieving what you want and you're doing it in a way that is future proof. And by the way, anyone listening to this, make sure you're following Uncommon LO on Instagram or TikTok. Hopefully, we'll even be able to get a clip out of this conversation. So at some point, I might ask you for a script or some just clip that we can put in there. So, most of your business coming from a combination of realtors and database. Are there any other niches that you're getting your business from?
That's a great question. I would say realtors mainly. Social media is a big one as well. I do get a lot of clients or even clients that have been referred to me, but they look me up on Instagram. I'm a millennial, even though not a Gen Zer at all. So when I first started solo in 2017, because I'd been like a junior LO for a long time, I started with social media, and that to me was a no brainer to really use that as like a part of my business plan, not just look at it as, oh, I'm recording a video or being on social media. So I get a lot from social media. And past clients. I would say this year more than ever, I've gotten more referrals from past clients, just being super intentional with how the process is treating our clients and how we're following up after closing. So I would say those are my three biggest, where my clients come from the most.
Love it. Yeah, no, I'm checking out social media. Wife, mom, and dog mom. By the way, what kind of dog?
I have two dogs. They're both rescues. One's a Catahoula mix and one's a bully mix.
Nice. Yeah, we've got two dogs. They're both mixes. Although one, we got from the shelter. The other one, when my daughter was really young,
Yeah.
we bought a dog. But
Hmm.
very cool. So we might close out with some of that. So let's get into advice with price and why
Yeah.
you're a mortgage coach and when you became a mortgage coach. Why and when?
I started using Mortgage Coach around the same time I started. So my first solo year production on my own completely was 2017. And at that time, I knew a loan officer that was at Atlantic Coast Mortgage. I was not here at the time, and said, "Oh, I use this thing called Mortgage Coach," and I had never heard of that. I was at a bank, and he had showed me a presentation, and I was immediately my mind was blown. I was this young loan officer. I had only ever seen a PDF worksheet, boring, basic, and hard to explain, and this was just so dynamic. I could display multiple options. It was groundbreaking. So I started paying for it on my own actually in 2017 because my bank that I worked for did not have it, did not pay for it. I don't even know if they knew I used it, but I used it the whole year of 2017. I found it really impacted my business in such a great way. And in 2018, I kept using it. I was still at the bank. And then in 2019, I came to Atlantic Coast Mortgage. And one of the big reasons why I came here was because they paid for it. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. They had already incorporated the technology and were already ahead of the game. And I just knew that's where I wanted to be because they were already so forward thinking, like at that point. So in 2019, I came over to ACM and obviously kept using it. So I've used it since 2017 and more in 2018. We had a builder account, and it was really great for competing with the other loan officers because there was three outsourced companies. So from the beginning in competition with other quotes that looked like that carbon copy, it was already standing out above the rest.
I love that story. Yeah, we might even want to use some clips right there in our marketing. That was awesome.
Thanks.
So it made you more professional. It stood out. It was dynamic.
Yeah.
You just felt like you could deliver a better experience for the consumer. And then you're also always thinking about how can I personally brand myself? That's
Yeah.
obvious from how you show up on social media. So it just like it showed up well for you, and you thought that it improves the consumer experience is your
Yeah.
why.
And I could see when people were opening it. I mean, that was huge to know when people were looking at my quote. I would get those emails, so and so has viewed your quote. And so you can see 11 at night when somebody's viewing something. I mean, those are great knowledge nuggets for a loan officer where you're not sure if something's landing or somebody's not being responsive. And so, so many reasons to use it.
What do you think about the new borrower AI that we've added? Has that been creating value for you or your customers, or what are some of your thoughts on that?
It does. Yeah, I would find like not everybody utilizes it, but the ones that do and do engage in it, it's helpful for me because it gives me insight into the questions that they're asking and what part of the quote, they might be interested more in, or even questions that weren't even in the quote that the AI is asking them. That helps me better direct my follow-up with that client. So it's definitely been a great added bonus.
Yeah, yeah. I was at Sales Mastery last week in Dallas, and I had no less than a dozen loan officers come up to me, and I pretty much heard two things. One, I feel like I'm reading my customers' minds,
Mm-hmm.
and I know what they're thinking, I know what they're asking, and then two, it's saving time. Like they're asking it questions like, "What is APR?" Sometimes they're asking it questions already answered, and so they just felt
Mm-hmm.
like time savings and even better able to anticipate the needs. So very
Yep.
cool. Um, when you give it to a customer, what do you call it? I mean, do you call it a mortgage coach? Do you have your own branded term? Like, how do you describe it to a borrower?
I still call it a TCA. I mean, but I don't say TCA. Obviously, I say this is your total cost analysis, but I explain what that
By
means.
the way, let's hear a script on that. I would love to hear, like, pretend I'm a buyer
Hmm.
and you're, getting ready to forward it to me via email. Is
Yeah,
that how you
I do
deliver it?
send it via email. After I go through it with them first, I never just blanket send it. So
Okay.
I always review the quote live on a call, on a Zoom call, or I record a video and send that if they are not available for a phone call. So I try to always really stress that we have that. I call it their pre-purchase consult. I think that is something that the mortgage nerd has called it, and I've loved her little
So
saying.
you watch a little bit of our YouTube content
Yeah,
with,
I love Denise. I went to her workshop earlier this year in the spring.
oh, great, great
Um,
job.
so she's awesome. But yeah, she calls it a pre-purchase consult, and so I've snagged that terminology from her. But I always say this is the most important call that we're about to get on is your pre-purchase consult, where we're going to review your total cost analysis. And what that means is we're going to see every option available to you. And if it's not displayed, I can display it for you live, where we can look at different price points. By the end of the call, you're going to know exactly what your monthly payment is going to be, what your out of pocket expenses are. We're going to go through what are closing costs, what do they mean, what is an escrow account, what is PMI. And by the end of it, you're going to be able to shop with confidence for that home, knowing everything is taken care of already.
Boom. That's going to go on the Uncommon LO. That was script number one. Now that sounded, just so I have context, before they're on Zoom. So that was
Yeah.
like when you're talking to them
Mm-hmm.
and you're getting them into your
Bubble.
experience.
Come into my lair.
Come
Yes.
into my layer. And okay, so there's going to be three scripts I'm going to ask you. So that's number one, check. And then I want to hear what it sounds like right before you actually put it on the screen
Yep.
and you start showing it. And then I want to hear, and if you just want to roll into it, or
Yeah.
we could do it separately, what does it sound like when you email it? I want to hear all three.
Yeah. So when we go through it, when I'm about to display it on the screen, I let them know, all right, guys, we're about to go through your total cost breakdown, and we're going to look through your target purchase price. We're going to look over your target monthly payment, and we're going to see what feels comfortable to you, because there's what you're approved for, and then there's what you realistically want in a budget. And those are typically two different numbers. So it's really important to understand where that line is going to lead you when we're looking at what you want to afford and what you can afford versus what you want to pay. And so then I get to display the numbers and we start reviewing. I let them know that we're looking at the summary page as the front page of the total cost breakdown. And it gives you like a bird's eye view of all of the really important data that you want to know right away, which is your purchase price, your interest rate, your APR, what the term is of the loan, the total monthly payment, and then your cash to close. And I explain what the cash to close is, because that is always there. A lot of first time home buyers like, is that the down payment? Is that this? Is that this? So I say this is like the whole enchilada. This is your down payment and your closing cost. Then I get to show them how to navigate the page, how to click the more info button, how to find their payment breakdown. We go through their escrow, we go through their closing costs. Um, and then I pause. I pause in between each of those because I don't want to keep word vomiting at people. So I look over the summary screen and I say, do you have any questions before we go on to looking at the further monthly payment and cash to close breakdown? So we answer any questions we have there. And sometimes right away, people are like, that payment looks really comfortable. Can we see these numbers? Or, this payment seems really high. Can we adjust this? No problem. I go in right away, fix it a little bit, because what I don't want is somebody to get that sticker shock and fear and then they withdraw. And so I think it's really important to pause there and answer those questions. And then we move on to payment, then we move on to closing costs. And then by the end of it, if there's anything lingering, we address that. And then I tell them, isn't this amazing that you got to see all of these numbers? Like, how great does this feel that you have every single piece of knowledge you want? Like, aren't you so excited to now do the fun part, which is home shopping? And they get really excited. We lighten the mood. I leave them say, okay, after this call, I'm going to send you this link over in an email so that you have access to it whenever you need it. It's a live link. So these numbers, a lot of them are estimates. So when you find the right property that you love, send that to me so I can dial these numbers in a little bit further for you. And then they say, that's great, thank you. So that's kind of like the end of the call. We always leave on a high note, the end of the Zoom call.
Yeah, no, first of all, that was amazing. What a great, I don't want to call a script, but like a talk track. Well, there's a lot of common phrases, and I bet it sounds a lot like that. But I
Right.
can see how people are pumped, like how confident they are, how clear they are. Do
Mhm.
you ever show strategies where you're showing them, like, here's some ideas to prepay your mortgage and become debt-free faster, or renting versus owning, and you're showing
Yes.
net worth in 3 years, 5 years? Like,
Mhm.
one, if you could just talk through, how, when you do that, because I
Yeah.
always think it's tailoring. You don't do the same thing with every person.
No,
But
no, yeah.
when do you do that, and what does it sound like when you're actually going beyond the transaction? Because
Yeah.
everything you just did was transactional education.
Mhm.
What does it sound like, and when do you go beyond the transaction?
So I do at the very beginning, I do an intro call with every single person before they apply. Even if I see an application come in, before I even look at it, I get the number and call the person because I think it's really important just to have a 10-minute review call because it makes me understand how I'm prepping the numbers. If I'm prepping just a standard set that we just talked about, or are they rate conscious and I want to do a temporary buy down display instead of just something normal? Are they worried about renting versus owning, where I'm going to show them the cost of waiting and I'm going to show them buying now, waiting 2 years versus buying now and refinancing it? So I call that the winner, that presentation. Or when we talk,
By the way, why the winner? Like, what's that mean?
because they're the winners, the ones
Oh,
that
the
bought
winner, the
now
winter. I got it,
and
the winner.
refi later. Yeah,
Got it, the
they're
winner.
winning.
I'm a little slow sometimes.
So I think that intro call gives me so much insight with like how I'm prepping that mortgage coach because I don't want to not understand their goals and then prepare something that doesn't land or scares them, or it could be a really educated buyer that this could be their fifth home purchase and they don't really care about what does 450 versus 550 look like. They could care about, how can I pay this off faster? Do I want a 15-year term versus a 30? Do I want an arm instead of this? So that first phone call, I think I ask very intentional questions that gives me a lot of the answers that I need to know what I'm preparing for the borrower.
Love that. So, how in the loop are your realtors about the experience you deliver? And do they realize that you're not just a typical loan officer doing,
Mhm.
here's rates, fees, fee worksheet? You know, are they in the know on this? And is
Yes.
this part of your value prop? If
Mhm.
so, how do you go about educating realtors around, like, I'm not a loan officer, I'm a modern professional that's a reflection
Mhm.
of you. How does that work? And when do you do that with realtors, and how do you do that?
You got to bring them in. You have to let them understand what our job looks like, and how we're making them look amazing to their clients. I've had so many of my realtors review the numbers because I send it to them. I send it to them. I say, look what I just prepared for Paul and Lucy. They're pre-approved. This is the numbers that it went over. I mean, we're not hiding those things. I mean, we're excited to share it with our realtors. I think a lot of loan officers don't always want to involve the realtor because they feel like, well, I don't want them to, maybe they don't trust their realtor to not take it and show another lender, or maybe they feel like, they don't want them to judge them off the, whatever reason it is that they don't want to bring their realtors into it. I think that has absolutely like strengthened our relationship with my top partners, knowing, and even if not my top partners, new relationships that I'm creating with realtors. If I'm meeting with them for the first time, I talk about Mortgage Coach as one of the added values that we bring. I have it right on my phone so I can just pull it out and show them right
By the
there.
way, you like the new app?
I
Uh,
love the new app. Oh
what do you
my
like about
gosh.
it? What do you like
I
about
love
it?
you know what I love? My favorite thing? If I need to text a borrower to share, it's got a script for me right there. I mean, how nice is that? And email too.
Yeah.
And I can highlight
I
on
have
it
to say
now.
we're pretty fired up about it. Like we think it's pretty magical to do that.
Yeah, I love it. One of my borrowers I just saw has viewed her mortgage coach 65 times. So
What's going on there? Like, what do you think she's doing?
she's just she's a first time home buyer. She's an what's it called, a chronic home shopper. But
And she's probably shared it with a few family members. And
of
yeah,
course. So I love that I can see how many times somebody has viewed something.
yeah. So, and by the way, couple things for people that aren't in the know. When she mentioned Denise, the mortgage nerd, that's Denise
Yeah.
Donahue, mortgage nerd. Make sure you follow her. I've interviewed her a lot on this YouTube channel. If you
Yep.
have not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And then every time someone views a mortgage coach, you're seeing it.
Yep.
And then within 30 minutes of someone interacting with AI, you're getting a transcript
Yep.
and you're getting a summary, an AI summary of that transcript.
Yep.
I know there was a number of people lately I've been talking to that are using that feature that like sometimes people are asking questions and then they're following up. Hey, I noticed that you asked AI
Mhm.
that question. Are you doing that? Like where there's almost like a two-way communication and you're referencing what was mentioned in AI?
I do reference it. I don't always say like AI told me this. I'll say something like, hey, I noticed that you had some questions when you were looking through, your mortgage coach, or at that point your numbers. Thought we could talk about them and talk about these things and these questions that you had and kind of address it that way. So I just I don't always say it's AI, even though it says it's an AI feature. I always just say, oh, I saw you had some questions while you're reviewing your numbers.
I think that's elegant. I think there's no issues with that. I like it. Also, one thing I would love to hear, I know because I've asked a lot of people, like, how do you describe the mortgage coach so that when people get it in the via email, they click on
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
They have context. And I've been hearing people say that they're starting to mention, like reference that, hey, there is a, and I've heard 100 different ways in which it's
Mhm.
done, but they're prompting the loan officer that, hey, there is a way for you to ask questions when I'm not around. Are you doing that? Are you prompting
Oh,
people?
that's a good question. No, I haven't done that yet. I haven't let them know that because it pops up so clearly. So I just immediately think, it's there. But that's good. Definitely have to add that, let them know that it's a new feature.
Yeah. Jeremy Forsey has a great script on that where he, how he positions it,
Hmm.
what he says. I think it is a best practice. I know I'm going to be at your sales rally in a few weeks. Maybe I'll play that clip.
Yeah.
I know there's things from this conversation that will definitely be integrating from stage. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person. Anything else that I haven't asked you that I should ask you, or a way that you're using Mortgage Coach, or a way you're winning right now in this market? Anything else you want to share with everyone?
I will say I'm not reinventing any wheels over here. I mean, I'm just a huge user of Mortgage Coach. I've used it for so many years. I use it 100% of the time. So I'm extremely consistent with it. I never deliver it without something to accompany it in terms of an audio, a video, or a bomb presentation, because even when I have reviewed it with them live, delivering it in a way that I'm still present in that presentation, I think is so important, because a lot of these people that get pre-approved or maybe do the cost of waiting or a lender buy down, they'll be shopping around with other lenders. And so I want to be an ever presence whenever they're reviewing these numbers. And I show them this because I say, if you are shopping around, I can almost guarantee you that if you're looking at an online lender or a bank or a credit union or whatever it is, you're not going to be getting this amazing display of numbers and technology. Or what I've been competing against a lot this year is new construction. And new construction is not using anything like this. And so it immediately just shows that you're on top of your game, that you are putting your best foot forward, and that you care about the client, because there's so much detail that goes into this. I don't think they realize how easy it is for us to put together. It looks very in depth. I can put one of these together in 5 minutes at this point, because it's everything that is just so easy for loan officer use. So I'm just 100% user. I don't send anything else. And you can print it if people don't like the fact that it's live. Like, you can just print the preview and have it that way if somebody prefers to have it in that version. So there's really no excuse not to use it for your clients.
Well, there's a lot to unpack. And before we wrap this up, I do want to unpack some of those things because you said like, hey, every single one of them, it has an audio, it has our native video, or it has a bomb bomb. And I do think like tailor, like connect with people. And she also talked about print because if people want it printed, they can print it.
Hmm.
The audio versus video, is that
Hmm.
just like, hey, do you want to get on video or do you want to do audio? What's the difference for you when you do the audio note, which for anybody who doesn't have Mortgage Coach, you can add an audio, you
Hmm.
can get video. What's the difference? Like, why do you sometimes do audio versus video? I'd love to hear that.
I sometimes do audio when I've already spoken to a client and it's going to be a very short clip. I'm not going through the presentation with them. I'm just saying, hey, it's Gabby Tripp from Atlantic Coast Mortgage. I really enjoyed speaking to you and your wife earlier. Again, we went through this, how to navigate the page. If you have any questions or want to recap or a specific property, get with me. It was such a pleasure to meet with y'all. I can't wait to go home shopping with you and be a part of your mortgage trip. And I end it that way.
Another script, boom. And then what about video? When are you going to go, oh, I got to use the Mortgage Coach video instead of just that?
Video is when maybe we've gone over the presentation. Let's say it's been a week or two. And originally I sent it with an audio, or originally I sent it with a bomb bomb if they weren't available. And now they have a home that they're interested in. Then I do a video because I'm kind of reintroducing myself again. It's been a
You're still
couple.
selling. My
Still.
delineation, like one is like they're in, they're
Hmm.
sold. Now I am just emotional connection,
Hmm.
Mortgage Coach video. I'm still working it. I'm still
Yeah.
building relationship. And then it sounds like Bomb Bomb is almost like, hey, I wasn't able to have them on Zoom
Yeah.
and have a full presentation. And now, like, instead of Zoom, I'm using Bomb Bomb. Is that
Yes,
fair to say?
exactly. Bomb Bomb, the only thing that I like Bomb Bomb for that's different is they could see me where I'm clicking
Right.
on the screen. And I only use that when I can't get them. If sometimes you have a couple where one's available at this time or not available at this time. So I'll just say, you know what? Let me just go ahead and send you a video presentation, and then we could circle up with a phone call after you've reviewed it. So I always come back to them. I don't just send the Bomb Bomb and leave it. I'm always following up to make sure, because then we talk about questions, a lot when I do the follow up call. I pull it up, I encourage them to pull it up, so that we can talk through it. Or, if they need to email their questions, I sometimes call them and talk through the questions. But I'm always trying to add the personal touch every step of the way. If you leave things just to text or email or video, yeah, you're going to connect, but you really have to like solidify that relationship, especially now when we're dealing with AI, that's not always in our corner, or online lenders or these trigger calls. I mean, the competition is wild. And so how are you going to stand out and be different from the Joe Schmo that calls them saying they can beat my rate?
Right. Well, and for anyone listening, it's the other part of how she closed out I wanted to cover is that guys, we're moving into a very well, not we're moving into, we are in a very competitive
Mhm.
market,
Yeah.
and if you're ever competing with new construction, you're going to be competing with, major concessions and rate buy downs, and you never know until it's too late.
Hmm.
And let's face it, there's never been more online lenders. There's never been more just players. I'm not going to start calling out channels or companies, but that are just leading with low price. And
Hmm.
so being consistent, delivering that high value, uh, high digital, highly personalized, put a voice memo on it, put a video on it. You're just missing out if you're not doing that consistently. And then I know last time I was out at your sales rally, you guys, you do a fair bit of new construction and you compete well with transactional loan officers that are
Right.
doing new construction. So you got a great company. You guys do a great job. Gabby, I can't believe this is the first time I've interviewed you. I'm so glad that your leadership team said you gotta talk to Gabby. I know you're gonna do a great job of inspiring a lot of loan officers to become mortgage coaches,
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait for the next conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. So, guys, anybody who's listening to this, if you have not subscribed to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, do it now. Make sure you're also subscribing to Uncommon LO. It's scripts and strategies to win right now in this market. And they're like less than 90 seconds. And most of them are like a minute. So make sure you subscribe to that too. And guys, this is a wrap. Take care, everybody.